Hi guys. So this is a little bit of a different setting. Headphones, mic, so different. But I wanted to do a new segment in my channel and it's kind of weird, but I was just like thinking to myself, wait, no. Okay, let me tell you guys the backstory. Okay, one, clean clothes. Clean laundried clothes. No dirty clothes on the bed, but I wanted to look decent, like casual but decent, not in my pajamas. But anyways, I decided that I wanted to do a little bit of a different thing for my channel. So basically I was like hanging out with my friends and I was thinking to myself, no, I was talking to them and I was just like, wow, the conversations we have and the thoughts that we have are so relatable. And I was just like, hey, what if like I share these thoughts with people because they're just so relatable. I love to hear people's thoughts, people's opinions, and I was just like, this would be such a cool segment. And I don't know where this is gonna go, but I just thought it'd be a really fun thing to add along to my vlogs. And you know, it doesn't really, I don't really like, it's not for like, it's not like for anything. It's just like mostly just because I enjoy talking and it's just like, you know what, might as well talk about it and put it out there. That's kind of the backstory of why I'm doing this. And also I was sitting in my room, okay, and I saw the mic and I was like, I have a mic and I don't sing, I don't do any of that, so what am I going to use this mic for? And it's just lying around. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a podcast and I'm going to talk, and I'm going to also bring my friends over and we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to have like a girls moment, a gossiping moment, a deep talks moment, all of those things. So that comes to my next point of what this podcast, you know, I can't even be calling it a podcast, but like this segment is called, and it is called Delusional Talks. Me and my friends, like, I don't know, lately we've been really delusional, so I was just like, you know what, this is very soothing, like this is very suitable for the topic at hand. So that's our segment. So this is going to be basically segments of me just talking for long periods of time unnecessarily. And yeah, I think it'll be a fun time, right? So basically, I don't really know where this is gonna go, but I just wanted to keep things casual and just do things, and I thought it'd be fun. So here we are today. Okay, it's the new year. Okay, it's the new year. My semester has finally ended and I'm about to graduate next semester, but it's finally 2024, and 2024 was always the year that I thought would never come. It was like a glamorized year because it was like 2024, oh my gosh, I'm graduating. 2024 just like it just set really good, like it was just like really nice to say in my mouth, like 2024, and it's just felt like a year of where I would figure everything out. I would know I'm like a grown adult, I'm matured, you know, all of that stuff. And then like it's actually coming, it's literally coming in this upcoming month, and now I have like a little bit of different thoughts to it. It's not like bad, but it's just like now that it's here, I have like so many thoughts that I never thought I would have, I guess. So I'm like, yeah, so I'm just like thinking about it, and I thought I would share those thoughts with you guys today. So for this new year, upcoming year, I'm not like a big fan. Okay, so first, I'm not really a big fan of setting New Year's resolutions. And my thing about New Year's resolutions is that just it doesn't work out for me. And it could be because I'm not committed enough, or like, you know, I don't know, but it's just I set them and they just never work out. And I don't really like setting it like a year in advance. Like I either do like super far in advance goals, like couple years, or either like not immediate, but like goals that I can reach at by like a semester, or by like, you know, like whatever time period, but like just putting New Year's resolutions to it, I just don't see it working out. It's just like before it would be like hitting the gym or something, but like I guess I just don't like the label. I don't know. I'm weird. Okay, like okay, don't come at me, but like I don't know. It's just not a big thing for me. So I just don't set them anymore. But I was like, I need to reflect, and I like reflecting on my year. And I also, instead of New Year's resolutions, I actually send a like it's like the future me. It's like where you send a letter to your future self, or like whatever time period you want. And so that's what I do. This year had a lot of change, and it's actually a year where I feel like I've done the most growth, and not by choice. It's like life just comes at you and you don't have a choice. You just have to deal with it whether you like it or not. And that was kind of my year. That was like, this year was that kind of year for me. And so when I look back at this year, part of me is like, I really want to start with a new year. I'm like really excited for it, but at the same time, I'm like kind of scared to go into the new year, because it's like such a big, like, it's just like, I don't know, it's just 2024. And I thought I would get into that. Because I'm a senior now and I'm about to graduate soon, I feel, okay, college went by so quickly. I never thought college would go by this quickly. For me, high school went by so quickly, and I was just like, I'm so excited to, like, when high school started, I was like, oh, I'm so excited to go into college. I really want to graduate. But before I knew it, I was already in college, and now I'm like almost done with college. And so for me, like, I feel like as I grow older, my like time has been going insanely fast, and it's scary. It's like, wow, it's going so fast. And like I feel like mixed feelings now that I'm about to graduate, because when I first started college, I was like, wow, I'm so excited to start. And before I knew it, it was already like nearly the end. And looking back, there's so many things that I learned that I didn't even realize that I learned. Some of my friends that are younger than me, they said like after their first year of college, they realized they grew so much and they're so different, and college changed them a lot. But for me, I felt that junior year, where I was able to realize, wow, I changed so much as a person. And before I entered college, I always heard people tell me, wow, you're going to change so much in college. But then, or like college is like a pivotal point where you learn so much about yourself. And I didn't realize the power in that until like I actually experienced it. And it's not that I changed in a good or bad way in particular, but I see how much like college changed me, because I think college puts you in like situations that you never thought you would have to experience. Like, I think what made me change as a person were the life experiences that I've had in college. And although like the responsibilities in college might be like, it's like going to be different from when after I college, where I have to deal with like jobs, careers, like more like things outside of like academics. But in college, I also met so many different people, and those different people also like taught me a lot about how I can deal with relationships, and how I treat others, how others treat me. And that's like something like I didn't even learn in high school. And even like if I look back at myself, I realized that, wow, like the Clara who started college is so different from the Clara now. And I'm just like taken aback, by how much like I actually changed. And like I would always think, oh, wow, I have a really mature way of thinking of things. But then I'm like looking back at myself back then, I'm like, dude, what was I talking about? I was not mature. And like I'm not mature now either. Like I think, and like there are some parts where I'm like, oh wow, good point, Claire. But like there's just so much to learn, and I realized how much I have to learn after like I'm going through these life changes. And I think okay, like okay, so college, talking about college and all of the things that happen in college is like a whole nother episode. Like, I can go hours and hours about how college changes you, but like, as like broadly speaking, because like now I'm a senior, I'm realizing there's like so much things in college that I loved doing that I feel like I'm scared that I might not be able to do it outside of college. Like, for example, I think now that it's nearly the end, I'm appreciating all of the small things, like coming back home and gossiping with my roommate, like spending all nighters in the library, or, just talking nonstop, like just like, oh, I'm bored. Let's see what my roommate's doing, like things like that. And like, I never really took time to appreciate it. I think sometimes like I didn't like I took it for granted, as in like I never recognized recognized how grateful I should be for these experiences, and the fact that my friends are like 5 minutes max, or like even not even 5 minutes, like they can, like I can just go to them at any point in time. Like, if at night, like, oh, we decided, oh, hey, we're bored, let's watch a movie together, like I just walk over to their place and then we can just like have girls night, like do all of those stuff. And like, if we wanted to go clubbing, we just go clubbing. Like, it's, oh, we don't have class anymore, like it's a Friday night, what are we gonna do? We're just gonna go party and do all of that stuff. And those like little things I've learned to like appreciate so much, and it made me recognize that, especially now. And I never actually like I never actually took a moment to like really be grateful for where I am. And it's making me miss college, even though I'm still in college, but it's just making me like feel like I'm going to miss this so much. But also, I'm like half and half. Like, I'm going to miss it so much, but I think I lived college with seriously no regrets. I think college is such a hit or miss experience. Like, I think college is really what you make out of things. It's like how you spend it, and if the way you spend it, it doesn't have to be like what people identify or idealize as, like, oh, going partying or having a bunch of friends, or doing all of that stuff. It's like what you enjoy in life, and making that the most of it in college, and like doing it the way that makes you the most happy. I think that's what makes up college, and why it's so important to live it the way that you want to live it, rather than comparing to how others live their college life and like idolizing like their lives. And so for me, like, that's what I was realizing. I was just like, wow, I really am very happy with my college experience, and because I'm so happy with it, like, I have no regrets. And I think, like, I'm also ready and happy to move on to the next chapter of my life, even if that doesn't include the same lifestyles that I had in college. And honestly, before I graduate, I'm trying to make the most of my like college experience. So that's why I think I've been like still going out a lot, and I've been still like trying to prioritize my social life. And I think that's why, like, for me at least, and a lot of my friends, like senior year, like, it's a little bit more like relaxed in terms of like academics, because, and like, it depends on your pathway, of course, but like for me specifically, because I'm a little bit in the tech area, like, my senior years, and my senior year was like very, it was a lot more chill than it was my junior and sophomore year, where I had like a lot of academic stress, and like, I think there was a lot of pressures in terms of like career pathways and trying to make that career growth, through like academics, clubs, and all of those like extracurriculars and stuff. But yeah, so I think senior year I had a lot of time to think and self-reflect about like myself, and like also focus on hobbies. That was another big thing that I was like doing, like doing hobbies. Like, I was trying to get back into it, because like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes like you get carried away with life and you just forget to do your own hobbies. And for me, when somebody asks like, what do you like to do in your free time, my answer was always like being with friends, hanging out, socializing, because I'm like such a people person. So like, I always love just hanging out. And so then I was like thinking to myself, what are my actual hobbies that I can do by myself? And I was like trying to do some, like, I was just trying to like self-reflect and like just like be like, what can I do independently that I can find enjoyment and can help me relieve stress? it used to always be like hanging out with people, but that's like also, it's not like dependent on people, but it requires people. But like, what can do by myself? And so that was also something that I was trying to learn a lot this semester, actually, in particular, like in the very beginning of the semester. And so I picked up back on my tennis grind, and I also was trying to get back into reading, and I was just like, I'm gonna do editing more, like there was like those things. And I think that really helped me like really progress towards like a sense of independence. I think like I always like felt it, I've always had a harder time, not I think I'm an independent person, but I think sometimes I can be too heavily reliant on my social life and like socializing with people, which I don't think is always a great thing. That's why when I went abroad, that was like a big pivotal change for me, as it was my first time traveling by myself to a new place without like family close by in like a like close proximity, like let alone like I'm at a completely different country. And because like I like where I go to school, like because where I go to school is very close to home. It's like pretty close, like I can commute if I wanted to. But so it's like I never like had that sense of like independence in that way. And so I learned so much. I it was like a huge moment of like change for me. I could put a name, a title to this year. It would be change. That's it, like literally change, like change. I'm somebody who really hates change. I hate change. It is something I'm not good with. I don't think it's I'm not yeah, I don't think I do well with change. It's weird. Like when it first happens, I'm such a overthinker that because when it happens I overthink so much and I anticipate it happening, which gets me in this like big gigantic spiral. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think the worst situation. But after a while, after it happens, I'm like really good at adapting to it. It's just I don't like the feeling of when it actually happens and before it actually happens and me having to anticipate the change. So I'm like always like I'm a I'm a creature of habit. So that's why like it's easy to adjust to it once it happens, because like I'm like I'm just adjusting and I'm getting used to it, which is like fine. But when it first happens, it hits me like a bus. Like I just hate it so much and I'm just like feel so lost, and I'm like I don't really know what's going on. Obviously like it's a spectrum like of change, but like this year so much change, guys, like I cannot even express. And I learned how important change is and how it's not always a bad thing. It taught me a lot of things, and some of these lessons weren't things that I really wanted to learn, but I kind of had to learn. Like let's do a brief rundown. I did study abroad in London this summer, and that was like a big moment of change. And honestly at that time it was like really stressful because I was still finding my internship, and I was like wondering if I can't find anything. Like it was like the timing was really bad. So it's like I either have to like take a risk, because once you apply for study abroad you can't take it back, and if you get accepted you just get accepted and you have to pay money. Like I either risk that I take the chance of like hoping that I get it, praying that I get into an internship, and then and just risk not going to study abroad, or like or vice versa. And did that make sense? Okay, wait, sorry. Did that even make sense? So basically I didn't know if I was gonna get my internship or not, and then but the deadline for my study abroad was before I actually knew if I was gonna get the internship. So I had to take a risk on what I was gonna do. And I was thinking, honestly, study abroad was a once in a lifetime thing, and I think it's I was always told it's one of the most important, like if you do one thing in college you should do study abroad, and a lot of people regret that they didn't study abroad. And I didn't see myself being able to study abroad any other time, so this would be the only time I would be able to do it. So I was like, okay, you know what, this is a very like important opportunity, and I feel like I'll learn so much, and I think I'll have a lot of fun. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I applied the day that I applied on the day it was due, and I submitted at exactly 11:59, and I was like so stressed. It's like, oh my god. And so thankfully it did work out. It was like I did my internship. I was able to do my internship remotely, and I also studied abroad. But during that time, like even I was like kind of unhappy. Like it wasn't that I was unhappy, but like it wasn't the best situation for me because it wasn't particularly an internship that I wanted, and it wasn't the best circumstances, and study abroad was like technically a backup choice. So it wasn't something that I would have wanted in like the internship that I wanted over like study abroad, because at the time that was like a main focal point for me, like in a priority. And like I was going through like so many rejections at that time, so that's another story. But yeah, and so when I was going to study abroad, I wasn't the most happy. I wasn't at the like it wasn't the most optimal state for me. So I wasn't like going into it like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I'm going to London, it wasn't really like that. But after experiencing it, it was like such a memorable, like unforgettable. I'm so happy I did it. But a lot of things happen during study abroad, and obviously like it is a new change, it's like a new place of change. And honestly, I think London was like very suitable for like it was just so my vibe, so I really liked it. And it wasn't as different as I expected it to be, but it was still a new environment. I didn't have family or friends around, and I had to make new friends, and I also like had to understand the culture and everything. So that was also like a very interesting time in my life, and I think I learned so much about how to learn how to adapt to new people. And also in particular, like just being in a new environment itself, so different from like Berkeley. It was like such a like a eye-opening. And because like my whole life I lived in the Bay, like this was such a big contrast to that. And I think like I learned so much from it. Semester 2, there was a lot of changes that was happening in my life in terms of like friends, people in my life. And I think that was also a lot of things that I learned. I think had to learn a lot of my, like, I think this semester I really had to take time to learn about my own self and self growth. And I think that's like hard. It was hard for me to do that when I was forced to do it. It wasn't really particularly by choice. And so, like, sometimes I think, like, wow, I learned so much, but it was like me learning at like one of my weakest points of my life. And I think you feel very lonely, especially when you're going through like the self-growth by yourself, but also when it's not something that you can get help from others. It was like a really like when I was so I learned like there are some things that you just can't get help from other people. It's like something that you have to deal with, something you have to learn for yourself. And I think that was when I felt the loneliest, and when I wanted to reach out for somebody, but it wasn't something I should do. It's not something that that person or anybody could give me. So it was something I had to like really like I just had to go through it. And I think like even though when life was hitting me with stuff, I just realized that I just had to go through it. And I think my biggest thing that I had to accept, that I wasn't particularly like happy to accept at that time, was life is unfair. Like it sounds so pessimistic, but it kind of gave me comfort too, to recognize that, and to acknowledge that sometimes that things happen to you, it's not always for a particular reason and you can't really justify it, but and life is unfair, but it's something you have to go through. And at the end of the day, it's something that will help teach you, and something that you will grow from. And I think that's what I like really learned. Like I always try to search for answers of like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? Why is this happening to, like, why is this happening? Why is that? Like, why not this? Why that? Like just like so many questions. But at the end of the day, that didn't bring me any answers or comfort, or it didn't bring me like progress. There was no progress in thinking like that. And I had to learn a lot about self-control in my thoughts, because as an overthinker, once you step into this realm of thinking of these like the worst possible like things that could happen, like you just keep on going and going, and it's just like an endless cycle, and that only puts you at like such a negative space. I just went with motto that life is unfair. It's unfair. Sometimes there's no explanation, and that's okay. And I just had to accept that things were going to be okay. And I think what gave me comfort is like knowing that at the end of the day, if it's not okay, time still needs to pass and things will get better. And I think that's really what really made me feel like so much better. Like I was watching this like Instagram reel, I think, and they were like saying, give it time. If it's not okay, it needs more time. And yeah, and I was like really comforted by that, and I was just like, yeah, I just need to be patient. I'll give it time. In the meantime, I'll work on myself and what I think is best. And like I went through cycles over and over. Like I tried this, like I tried to improve myself. If that didn't work out, then I go a different way. And I just like, I think I have to, like, I think I realized like it's just always like a learning process. You're gonna just have to learn, and that's just it. Like you just keep on learning. Yeah, damn, that was like a whole like segment of me just talking about change. I hope that wasn't me just rambling, because like sometimes I just go on rambles and I'm not even like saying a certain point, you know? Like, do you guys ever have those moments? Well, sorry, back to what I was saying. But like I think like on top of all of this change, at the end of the day, it helped me realize that I have so much to learn, and I'm just always trying to become a better person. But I think sometimes like I had struggles finding what is that boundary between being a good person for other people, for myself, and like having that being like used, you know, like when people like take advantage of that, not your kindness and your compassion. And when is it okay to set boundaries to be selfish for yourself? I think like being selfish for myself has always been like a really really hard trait. I never knew how to draw that boundary. I felt like sometimes if I like try to be selfish, I was scared that, oh, that gives like that's like a bad perception of myself, and like how that's gonna affect other people. And I was just like, oh, but I don't want other people to feel or be in a bad position because of my selfish wants. But I think there is a limit and a line that you need to put for yourself, especially if that comes at the expense of your mental health or your needs and wants. Because like, not needs and wants, but I think you need to draw a line when it gets to the point of like your mental health and your happiness is being compromised because of other people. And you know, I'm still learning that balance. But I think when some like I see so many of my friends who give in so much and who love so much and are just great people, and they have like a really hard time finding that balance between giving all in, giving their all to a situation, but getting hurt so much because they gave so much but they didn't get anything in return, or like they only receive hurt and negativity. So that's like something like that's also always so hard, and I think I'm still trying to navigate through that. And I think at the end of the day, like I think when you get hurt by people, like forgiveness is not for them but for yourself. I think that's what I really really learned, guys. Forgiveness is not something just because, like, a long time ago, actually no, I used to think that getting an apology was something that I really wanted, especially from people, like especially from the people that you really seek that for. But I realized, you know, getting an apology does not do anything. It actually doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't like make the situation better. It doesn't solve anything. And like, especially in times when like you can't mend like a relationship, that's when I was like, okay, I always thought I wanted forgiveness so they can acknowledge it and I can feel validated, but it actually doesn't do anything. And honestly, forgiveness is for yourself, and you need to be able to give that forgiveness for you to yourself, forgiveness to yourself. But that's also like such a hard process, and it's something like I had to learn, like I was navigating through, and I was just like, this concept of forgiveness and like being able to be okay that you gave all that you wanted, that all that you gave everything you wanted to give and you needed to give, and you did the best that you could, and that's enough, and that's okay. And even if you didn't reciprocate that and you got hurt as a result, it's okay. It's like, don't blame yourself for it, and you did the best that you could in that situation, and I think that's okay. that's also another lesson that I learned as a result of change. Wow, this is like a whole like lesson, like a New Year's resolution, like a New Year's this is a New Year, end of the year reflection. Also, another thing was like this year I traveled so much. This is going back to like studying abroad, but like I went to like London, and then I went to Korea, and also, guys, I went to Korea that summer too before I went to London, and I'm traveling again this winter break, and it was many reasons that I was studying during winter break. Like there was just like so many reasons, but I'll get into that. Like I don't know if we should get into that, but yeah. But I'm going to but I'm traveling again this winter break to Asia again, and this time, well, I'm going to Korea to visit family again and friends, but I'm going to Japan, guys. Japan has always been on my bucket list, so I've always wanted to go, and I'm going with friends, and I think it's going to be an amazing time. And not gonna lie, I did kind of want to escape from California, America, for a little bit. I'm very fortunate. I don't want to sound spoiled or anything, but it was also on mileages. It wasn't like it was on mileages, so that's why I also decided to just go. I'm not rich. Um, but yeah, I think I wanted to take a break for a little bit, because I think this year I felt like I went through a lot. But no negativity, just like, a lot of change, like I mentioned. And I think this year was like full of reflection, and I just kind of wanted to be in a new environment for a little bit. And yeah, and I've never really felt that need, but I think it's just like so much happened. Like I felt like, especially when your life seems like it's going okay, and then just suddenly just kind of hits. And I think that's a roller coaster. That's part of life's roller coaster. But yeah, I think that's literally like my life story so far for this new year. Like basically, that was my life story. Oh, another worry that I kind of touched up upon, but I didn't really get to complete, was my post grad plans. I'm so worried about post grad. Like that's like another like thing that I'm worried about. I'm like scared that life outside of college is going to be so different, and it is going to be different. But I'm scared about like that process of navigating through that life, It's going to be like so different from like college, and like also like career wise, like I have a set career plan, but I don't know like how confident I feel in like, I don't know, I like to think like so far ahead, and sometimes I'm just like, I wonder if this is gonna be what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life. And yeah, I really love it. I like really love it, and I don't have a doubt that I'll love it. And I know that like the work that I'm doing is like something I really want to do, and I hope to develop my skills in it. But also like I think I wonder, because I also don't really know how I feel about the typical 9 to 5 schedule until I die kind of thing. That's also a little thought, but also like friendships, like I mentioned, like if I move to a new location, honestly, the job economy is so bad that like I'm gonna take whatever I can get, and I'm gonna just be grateful. So that's my view of things. I just want to kind of go into little snippets of little things in my life for the epilogue of this podcast. And I'm very excited, because I'm excited to go into more talks. But yeah, I'm sorry if this was all over the place. Maybe this was all over the place. We'll see. As a little wrap up for this mini episode, I wanted to end up with a quote. I used to do this for some of my videos, but I thought it's more suitable for my podcast. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna end up with a quote. But the quote is, The Measure of Intelligence is the Ability to Change by Albert Einstein. And I thought that was suitable because I've been talking a lot about change, and it's the new year, and yeah, and it's a time for self-reflection. But yeah, so that's it for today's podcast. Thank you for listening. I hope to see you guys again.